Hello, Forecaster here again, and we are back for episode 72 of the Railcraft server Let's Play. And I think we are getting really close to getting this reactor up and running. So, first thing is we're going to pop over to IntelliJ. We're going to have a look at some changes that I've made. For one, I've made the program load a settings file, which is a table that contains the addresses for the components for the reactor controls. And the reason for that, of course, is so that I can so you can have the same version of the program run, or you can use it in different setups without having to keep changing the actual program. And I don't have to commit changes to the addresses to the repository. Instead, I have those in the settings file, which is unique for each setup. And that's a little smoother. We still have the ports. You could probably move those to the settings file at some point as well. No, I'll do that some other time. And then I added the external override state to the message sent to the client, and I've made I improved this a bit. So it turns out that the sites library has a lot more values than I thought it did, and a lot of them are redundant, and this didn't actually work very well anyway. I broke, and I'm not entirely sure why. But what I ended up doing was I create a local table where I specify the sides, exactly the sides I want to check, and we have up, down, north, south, west, and east, so each cardinal direction and up and down, basically. And I just iterate over those instead, and this actually works. Something in the actual sides table caused the loop to stop, apparently, which kind of broke this thing. But now it works. The external override works fine. Then I just commented out some prints there. Then for this, and I've actually been using an outdated version of this on the tablet on the server, but I've added support for the external override, and I also changed how these the states are displayed a little bit. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same. We of course receive the external override state from the modem message. So we're going to commit these changes. I want to wait with committing them until I had shown them. Otherwise, I probably would have forgotten what I changed without the highlighting from IntelliJ, which is nice. So what did I do? I created settings file, and I added external override to modem message, and what else? I fixed the external override check function as well, and I think that's pretty much it for the server. And then on the client, we can see we made a bunch of changes here. Change how client displays states. Yeah, a few of them were, I think the client override state was actually wrong. I had forgotten to, or I was supposed to have changed, let's see, yeah, this line here should have been, as you see, I've inverted it with a not. So that was the wrong way around. I also changed the wording from online and offline to disengaged and engaged. Yeah, that'll do. So we'll commit and push those. Yeah. Do that. And then we are going to pop back into Minecraft. And I'm going to have to pop open the repository. Actually, I have the URL for the server program right there. I don't have the URL for the client. So I'm already, I have my floppy disk plugged into here. So that, and I'm on that as well, I think. Wait. Oh. Don't want the Reactor Manager in here. Probably going to have to go back to the loot disk. Yeah. Download it into here. And then the client is going to go on the tablet here. And the tablet is one of these. I think it's the A62. Let's go into home. We should have the client here. And then I'm going to get the raw URL for the Reactor Client. We're going to download that. Insert that. There. So now the tablet is updated. And we have the server program on the disk. And before I forget, I'm going to take 10 buckets of water here and put them into the solar distiller up here. Get some more distilled water. I have 10 cells of coolant that I've made. I'm going to put that into the reactor, and hopefully that'll be enough to run it. Otherwise I'm going to have to make more, I guess. But hopefully this will be alright. We have run out of power. My FSU down here. Right. Okay. So the coolant goes in here. And there's actually a tank here now. And it looks like we had enough to fill the... We have filled the output. Might want to force this to extract so that we can... cool this back down. We have a bunch of power in here, basically. Is this heating up? Yeah. Right. While we're doing that, we can grab this. We're going to have to disconnect this. And boot this up. We need to put some power into here to keep the computer powered. And then we are going to mount, and then probably put the disk in as well. It's a good idea. So then we're going to copy Reactor Manager to home Reactor Manager and overwrite. And then we can remove this again. Whoops. Shift click. And reconnect that. And then we can run... actually go back to home. And then we can run the Reactor Manager. Oh, right, yeah. First we have to create a settings file. And this should be a table, serialized table, basically. And it should contain, let's see, if I have a look here, the manager, pipe control, and that should be a string, of course, and then reactor control, external override, and then we also need the, oh wait, I think that's it. All right, we also need tank side, power side, and pipe side, which means you can also, because you may also want specific sides or set up specific sides. You don't want to have those hard coded. So it's this. Yeah, it's generating power now. It's going to keep doing that while there's still heat in the reactor. Looks like it's actually out of heat, so we're running out of coolant now. Hot coolant, that is. So where is my analyzer? We have to copy these addresses again. So we have the pipe control is that. Right. Tier 1 screen doesn't let you click on it. Forgot that. That is reactor control. Still can't click. And then we have the external override, which is this one. Should be there. And then the tank side. Wait. Right. That's that. That should be south. Yep. And then pipe side and power side are they're all south. So we would just put south in here like that. And then we should be able to run the Reactor Manager just like before. We can boot up the client. So we can have a look at what it's doing. So now it's going to run normally. We have a buffer of coolant here, which is lovely. There is a fluid pulling upgrade in the fluid port there, pulling coolant from the tank. And the reason for that is that for some reason the pipe wouldn't input coolant into the reactor anymore, even though I'm pretty certain that used to work. But I grabbed a fluid pulling upgrade from somewhere, and that works. We're going to run Reactor Client here. And here you can see that the reactor state is online. Coolant valve is shut, which means that it's not pulling coolant from this tank at the moment. And the external override and the client override are disengaged. I don't think that is working. Now, we are going to need to do something here because apparently Leah is on the server, and because the override engages when it receives a redstone signal, but which shuts down the reactor. But the refueling robot outputs a redstone signal when the reactor is supposed to run. So basically we need to invert this signal here, which isn't too difficult. We just need a block. So we need to take a piece of cobblestone, I guess, and I'm going to put it above so you can walk underneath it. Then I'm going to put a redstone torch, and I'm going to have that connect to that. And this is going to connect to this block here. And apparently that does not... shit. That does not affect the torch. That's unfortunate. I guess what I could do is have a super circuit maker circuit on the reactor wall here. We're fine for now until the reactor needs to be shut down to refuel. Then we are going to run into issues. So now the coolant valve, as you can see, is outputting. And we can reboot the elevator computers because we have power again. So we're going to have to go back to the a base to get some to get a circuit plate and some tiny redstone. So that the robot connection works correctly. I think I have those here somewhere. Get a circuit, and then some tiny piles of redstone. I guess I'll take all of those. Yeah. I think that'll work. Put that away for now. Oh wait, shoot. I don't have the screwdriver. I need that as well. Be able to set the connections up correctly. But that should be all we need, and then I think it's done. Unless I have forgotten something. I forget what this does if it loses connection. If it just stops updating. Also, it's quite cold. Screwdriver in... None of those was in the locker. Probably was. Yeah, there it is. Get that. Whoop. Okay. Maybe quick warm up in the old sauna thing. Have here before I get hypothermia. Okay. Ow. Stupid spiders. Okay. Power level is 4%. It's going to take a while to work that up to normal level. All right. Need to boot up the elevator server as well, which is back here. Pop that on. Okay. So now we can put that there. And then we're going to have this. We're going to have that connect, that connect, and then that connect. But hold on. Should have brought a tiny lamp. So you should... Let's disconnect that. Well, I guess it was already disconnected. Oh well. That should... Why is that not powering the... torch? That's weird. Ah. Right. Need an input connection from the side as well. Okay, so there we go. Now it's correct. Now that is off. Now, I don't think that works the way I had it connect up like that. I think I need to do that. So now, if I... external override is off, but if I do that, the external override engages, and it should keep the reactor from running, regardless of what the other states say. So there we go. Now everything is running. And I put a button here so I can... Oh. The idea of that was that I could turn off the screen to conserve some power. Because we don't need to see this most of the time. If you come down here and just want to see the power level quickly, you can just pop the screen on for a second. So now everything is working. That should auto start the elevator client. So these should be... Actually, I guess it doesn't. Yeah. Boot that up. Okay, now the elevator system is back online. We have power. Plenty of it. We're not running out of coolant, which is lovely. Could probably use a bigger buffer of it because it seems that a lot of it is in hot coolant because it's not being processed. The coolant processing is the bottleneck and not the reactor itself, which is a good thing. Because it's easier to regulate the reactor output than this. But I might add another coolant stack eventually, one of these things, so I can process coolant faster. But yeah, so now we have an MFSU, which is charging, and it's powering the elevator system, basically, and the reactor control, and nothing else at the moment. So the next project is going to probably be creating the spine of the base, which is going to be the fiber optic or the glass fiber power cable, which will probably go up along with this, and then we can branch that off. Now I might want to have an extreme voltage transformer before then to pull the power up to extreme voltage, which the glass fiber cable can handle, and then have the opposite transformers stepping the power down to the appropriate level wherever it's going to be used to conserve as much power as possible. And then once that is done, I will probably do most of that, or at least prepare the items off camera so that it doesn't take too much time. And then once that is done, we can get working on setting up the ore processing and the automatic metal casting system, which is going to be a lot more interesting than placing a glass fiber cable. And it's going to involve more computers, which is always fun. So that's probably what we're going to do in the next episode, which is going to be exciting, unless I realize or think of something else that needs doing, which is entirely possible, but hopefully I won't. So until then, I'm going to end the episode here, and I'll see you in the next one.